Now, for instance, we have new contracts which are not in the books, for which there is no law in the books. Let's say, for instance, a franchise contract. A franchise contract is not regulated anywhere. And when the parties write down an incomplete contract, an incomplete franchise contract, then for the lawyers, for the judges, it is now important. So how can we fill in the gaps? What do we take? Do we take it from sales law, or do we take it from credit law, or whatever? You know, that is the way traditional law works. And of course, this doctrinal view has led legal science in the 19th century to Olympic heights. There is no doubt about it. But the lawyers seldom, if ever, made any conscious effort to really fully understand what the consequences of legal norms are, or as we say, the theology. And that is where law and economics steps in. It is clear that long before there were some predecessors of law and economics, but as a discipline it developed only in the 1970s, making use of mainly methods of microeconomics. And microeconomics, price theory today is, at the end of the day, we want to know how it really works, not only theoretical concepts, but we have to know how in the real world changes of legal norms might change the outcomes. And also, what is very important right now, and we have not covered this in this course because of lack of time, the behavioral economics has become very important. You know, these schools, the deviation from rational behavior. And the results are really striking, and especially, for instance, in your field. And I just give you an illustrative example. In Munich, in Germany, we have an institute, the Max Planck Institute, a big institute for intellectual property law. And it had a long-time director who believed that, who was purely doctrinal. So, and doctrinal means basically in IT law, if somebody invents something, then he's the owner of this. He must be the owner of that. That is an idea which goes back to the philosopher Locke in this 18th century, which is, however, a totally misleading idea from a law and economics perspective, and it is not in line with reality. So, for instance, I once came to meet in the United States the person who invented, you know, if you have a Coca-Cola can, you can open it, and this thing, you know, it is formerly when they started with these cans, you opened it and then you had this thing in the hand and threw it away, which was bad for the environment, and now you open it and it remains there. And he invented this. And he said, well, whenever, you know, somebody buys a bottle of Coca-Cola or whatever, then I get point cents is for me, you know. So he had a small invention, and he got a patent for it and became a rich man. But if somebody, and this is not a big thing, you know, it's not a marvelous invention, But if somebody invents or discovers a great mathematical theorem which is widely used in the whole world, it gets nothing. It's not patentable. So the whole idea that if somebody discovers something, he is the owner of that, is empirically wrong. And we have to ask why we give this person who invented this improved Coca-Cola can, he gets a patent and becomes a millionaire, and the one who discovers a groundbreaking new mathematical theorem which is widely used gets nothing. And economics can tell us, but these traditional lawyers, they didn't understand this, the whole thing. And consequently, they also could not develop any idea of whether patent law is functional or whether it becomes dysfunctional. We have here discussed, for instance, the idea of, this idea of the tragedy of the anti-commons. You remember this tragedy of the anti-commons? You give a property right with injunction, and sometimes this is a good thing, but sometimes it may be a bad thing. And then it rather impedes the economy rather than promoting it. And in patent law, for instance, the law and economics researchers have come to a conclusion, most of them at least say, that we have overdone it. We have protected too much, and we have created a tragedy of the anti-commons in patent law, and that perhaps, not in general, but in some features of patent law, we have it is dysfunctional insofar as it does not encourage but discourage new inventions. So these are all things which we did not know before. And now, for instance, in Munich, under the new director, he has hired quite a few law and economics people. So the whole way of looking at intellectual property is changing. So this is just one example how this new field of law changes legal scholarship and changes the way we discuss legal norms. And I'm glad that I had here the opportunity to discuss such things with you, and I hope that law and economics will flourish in India, and there are some very enthusiastic supporters and scholars, and one of them is, of course, Professor Prasad, and I hope that this will flourish, and I hope that perhaps one or the other of you might also engage in this new field of social science. Thank you.
I want to be less formal, so it works for me. First of all, it's an honor and a privilege, as I said, to actually participate in this program with Professor Schaefer, who is truly an authority in this field. And I have to also say a few words about Professor Prasad. He has spoken about everybody else except himself. But the thing is, when this course actually started and he wanted me to be partner to him in the field of law and economics, first idea that came to my mind was, you're really kidding. You want me? Because I'm in industrial engineering department and I teach intellectual property rights, of course I do, but I do teach to mostly scientists and engineers and business people, because we also have management school within the department. So the purpose of that is to expose people to understand that intellectual property is not just a bunch of laws. It's about also, there's a technology angle to it, and there is also a business angle to it. If those two are not there, then the laws are useless, right? That's the point that people have to understand, that these three have to work together So there is technology for the sake of solving problems and solving problems of the society, which is what creates business opportunities. They have to be protected by laws. So that angle is something that we have to, people who have actually worked in the industry should actually transmit. So that was what I was trying to do. So that's one thing. But the most important thing is, like, first of all, it's a very mixed audience. So there are obviously scientists, engineers, lawyers, and everybody else. So so it's a kind of a tricky situation to find exactly common ground where everybody can actually appreciate. And so we actually covered as much as possible a wide array of topics. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you benefit something from it. So the most important thing is, whatever, this is really in a short course like that, it is to expose you to various different areas. So you can go ahead and do your own learning. It is not to actually instruct you. This is not a prescriptive course. What I tried to teach you was not to be prescriptive. It's more like inspirational. So you should be able to say that, okay, these are the important things in these areas besides the things that we know already, right? So hopefully you benefited. So I certainly enjoyed having you in the class, and it's an honor and privilege to be actually even coordinating the program with somebody like Professor Prasad, who is a student of Professor Schaefer, and I think has a good experience with me. Thanks.
Yeah, just before we request some of you to share your experiences for the last fortnight, if you were inside the class, outside the class, how you feel, and please also give us the, other than the formal message which you gave in a feedback form kind of thing, but now truly please share it with us, what you feel and how we will go further. We need to evaluate ourselves where we are and how we are going to do in a more efficient and comprehensive manner. Before I would like to request you, even though we have given the rationale for need of this type of course in our nation, we have given the overview of the course and the course details, course outline, every day what we are going to talk, but we haven't covered in full. There are certain gaps out there, as Professor Schaefer mentions, time constraint, that is main one. And the second one is justification for this type of courses. Presently, in a given society, the human beings, or whatever economic transactions or non-economic transactions, a day-to-day based lifestyle, it is mingled with science and technology. Whatever you do, you take a transportation, you browse the internet, you go to your doctor, or even you go to a classroom. Whatever we do, it is directly, whatever the percentage it is, whether we acknowledge it or not, it is now part of our day-to-day lives. So in that circumstances, so the boundary lines of the subject things will take a lot of time in order to achieve certain social goals. So whether there is any possibility, we have really hear from Professor Schaefer as many times as like cheapest cost principle and then highest risk bearer. If that is the case, that is true in a resource constrained society. We need to use rationally and bring optimum maximum output. If that is the case, then there is a need for wherever there is a marrying of subjects like law and economics. So we need to see the merit in it and how this merit could be promoted wherever there is a kind of possible to having a Pareto improvement. So this is what the basic idea of proposing this kind of course. Yes, it is not me. Of course, it is not Professor Uday Racharla, I can say, which it has this. It is Professor Schaefer. He himself really shared it with us. We can have a course to the participants of like this group. We can structure kind of course outline. Then at that time, there was rightly when Professor Schaefer was discussed with us this kind of proposal, and at that time there was a kind of announcement from the Minister of HRD, Government of India, this global initiative, academic networks. That really, it is the right time to submit an application proposal, and then we lucky and we got it, and now we really had the benefit out of it. And it is true that it is the Government of India, we should thank them, and it is the IIT Kanpur we have to thank them, it is Professor Schaefer we have to thank, of course Professor Uday Racharla, and finally the participants. Okay, so with you only we can do this. So with this again a kind of second note, I would like to really request some of you please share your your experiences, both academic as well as on campus life. You come here or you can sit there. It is better if you can come here so that
I think we should make each one of you express yourself rather than
that is yeah.
That way you will definitely have to speak.
No choice. Mandatory rule. No default rules.
I know how it works.
Maybe we start from the last or from the first? Yeah.
Good morning, one and all. I am Neha Jansar. I am pursuing my PhD from IIT Kanpur. I am in my third year of PhD. So, I am into the law department of IIT Kanpur, and I am intending to make a convergence in terms of competition law and economics, specifically in the area of mergers and acquisition. What happens? I mean, what is the law into it, and obviously what is the economics of it, the strategic issue. I was very much interested about this course because as in for now, my thesis was completely either going into an empirical track of economics, or the law analysis was done in terms of case studies, which were purely doctrinal, in terms of strictly law-based criteria was followed. So I was highly interested in terms of convergence, that's how to apply the theory, how to logically justify whatever the law is telling. What is the rationale behind the judgments? If the orders are coming out, so how they judge it. So that portion wasn't covered in this course, but the other portions which were covered in terms of contract law or tort law, I didn't know these laws earlier. I was completely new to the domain, but the way it was taught, I mean, it created an enthusiasm within me that I should look into these literature and try to find and try to do some future work into it. This course has initiated or ignited some kind of quest, some kind of query that what is happening next. I mean, where the convergence lies, or where is the fallacies. I mean, where we lack in terms of applying this kind of perspective. So I was really benefited through it. This day was very good. Teachers were very supportive. So I'm very happy to be a participant in this course. Thank you.
Doing PhD already means my area is law and economics, so I cannot say that I am motivated by this course. But I got a different angle, especially from Professor Safas and then Professor analyze the things in a way and to broaden the horizon of thinking. That in which way you can do that. Basically, in the law and economics or in some interdisciplinary area where which is new to any country or any place, the restriction happens that you just have a one angle, that how you mingle that. Just take a basic concept and you try to come up with something. But with this course, it's not just the restriction, it means I am able to overcome with that restriction and to see that how empirically and basically with a mathematical modeling we can construct the things. We can take it to a level which can be not just with of course with the practical problems and the societal problem we can analyze the things, but also we can mathematically and empirically test and prove that how it can be certified through all the angles. This was the one basic things, and apart from that, the thing which I lacked in this course and which helped me a lot, and which will of course I'm going to include that in my thesis part, is the searching for a solution within the society. Like maximum of time, any example, it will be a basic theory or the basic concept of law and economics. And Cephas are always supplemented with the examples of which happen in society or in any corner of the world. So basically that gave me an insight that if you try to find out the solution or the problems, maybe of the or the solution you will find in the society, and that is the basic things which makes your study or the your thinking more viable and more acceptable than having just a bookish. Like if the means we have seen in economics also nowadays it has become a two-part. One is the mathematical kind of thing which just we come up with a theory and just different theorem and different studies which just remain for a bookish, and it helps to the researcher who is related to that or it is keen to that particular area. And there is also one field empirical which helps to analyze the policy and to make it better. And mainly this interdisciplinary courses or the discipline which comes, basically the aim for these, which I think is that to mingle these two things, the modeling and the empirical part, so that it does not only add to the literature or the study or research, but also it helps to provide some practical usage, so that it can means society can benefit and can flourish further. This is the one major thing which I got it through this course particularly, and of course from you.
My name is Shantanu Brachore. I'm an advocate from Patna. I practice in the High Court and as well as the District and the Sessions Court. Sir, I have been practicing for only 2 years, but still I have had quite a few chances of having exposure to some complicated things like drafting contracts and pleading before the court for asking for damages or compensation. But I have never been really able to understand what should be the extent of the fine that I should really claim. Should I also, should I go beyond the damages that my client has suffered, or what should be the real standard on which I should stick to? Now I can say now that I really know what should be the limit, or what should really be my claim if I again go to the court for claiming damages. And also when while drafting contracts, I can now understand in what manner should I, what kind of risks should I bear, on behalf of my client in the contract, and what risk will it be profitable for me as well to lay it upon the opposite side. And I can surely say that this course has benefited me a lot, and it has motivated me also. I would certainly like to pursue a higher study in this course. And about IIT Kanpur, sir, I can only say that this university has a tremendous, I mean, a really inspiring intellectual environment here. And I have made quite a few good friends here in this course as well. So I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Kaur and I'm from Chandigarh. I'm an advocate practicing in Punjab and Haryana High Court. I've been practicing for last 1 year, and before that I did my LLM from National University. And while I was doing my LLM, I was doing it as in I was writing my dissertation on the topic of economic sanctions. For that I had to find research through international economic law. That was purely a new area for me, and while I was researching, I wanted to know that how economic sanctions were affecting the GDP of the country, which is the target country. And I was unable to do the empirical research or other stuff because I was not exposed to the law and economics part of that. I did my research through doctrinal, but when I came to know about this course, as in I was so enthusiastic when I applied for this course, and even sir knows through my emails that sir, I want to participate in this course because I want to do further study on how, as in I want to write research on the part that still which is left behind, that how economic sanctions by passing the authoritative World Trade Organization are affecting the GDP of the target countries. Now this course has really helped because I was unaware about the cost theorem and how cost benefit approach is good. Now by implementing these theories, it will help me a lot in researching, and I want to do more higher studies in this course. And Professor Schaefer has taught this course in a very good way by demonstrating how German law and how other European countries are undertaking this as in this disciplinary, and how we are in the, because we make some laws constitutional, and in the other countries they are doing it unconstitutional, and they have said that it is unconstitutional. So that will be another area where I want to research. So, and one more thing, that IIT Kanpur has, as in I saw their library, their research, their books, and it has ample amount of as in field where people can come and do more research on it. Thank you so much, sir.
My name is Rizwal and I'm a 4th year civil engineering student. I'm neither from economics and no related to law, but it was fun to participate in this course and to gain exposure to this kind of subject. It absolutely expand my intellectual and knowledge base, and it was fun to get knowledge from Professor Schaefer, and his way of teaching was like storytelling and that was fun.
Good morning all of you. I am Piyush Pandey. I am a PhD student here at IIT Kanpur. I am working in the electrical engineering department. My motive for this course was just to be a part of a different discourse. I have always been surrounded by an engineer's wall, much like the patent wall that you I was always surrounded by engineers. I was always into, like what is the next transmission line coming up, or what is the generator controls, or things like that. What I was looking was for different kind of a discourse, and it was fun. I met some really good friends. First time I'm sitting out lawyers, so kind of a scary thing. I always thought sitting with lawyers might be scary, but not that. I mean, they're fun people. Yesterday she pulled out a book of, a constitution out of her bag, which was very new for me. People generally, they have electrical manuals that they bring out. So that was
You are lucky touching the constitution.
Yeah. It was a very beautiful book. I was actually discussing about that. It's a very beautiful constitution. So what I was looking was for a different discourse. Professor Schaefer was very nice. All the faculties were very nice, and I got a different view of things, and the anecdotes that Dr. Schaefer shared, they were very nice, and I got to know a lot more. So thank you very much.
Good morning everyone, my name is Shweta. I'm from Bangalore, and I have done my engineering in computer science, and I have worked in IT industry as a software engineer. So and my future engagements, it was not sure, but still I had in mind that I would pursue my master in applied computer science. But then last year when I met Professor Prasad and I got to know him very well, later this year he introduced me to this course, and I had two minds whether to attend or not. So I just decided it's a new thing. If not anything, I'll just get to see a new city and to be in IIT and, and at least get to meet few other people. But definitely this course has changed, I don't know how much impact it has done. Now I'm definitely looking for a career in this, and after speaking with Professor Uday and discussing some points with Professor Schaefer as well, I have decided to pursue my future career in IPR. Thank you very much for this motivation, and I'm looking forward to be in touch and to attend more such kind of courses.
Good morning everyone. My name is Nishchint Gupta, and I am a final year student of the Electrical Engineering department here at IIT Kanpur. So I have no background in economics or law, but I took Professor Prasad's Economic Analysis of Law course, Humanities course, and he is the one who motivated me to join this course, because he was pretty sure that I am going to learn a lot, and he was absolutely right. So it has been an honor to attend your class. I mean, in the very first lecture, when you talked about Venice and all the countries and all the legal reforms, it was quite eye-opening for me. And the amount of knowledge that I've gained in 14 days is maybe much more than I'll gain in a period of over a year. So I thank you very much to give me this opportunity, and it was an absolute honor to be here.
Good morning all, I am Kanika Goyal from University of Hyderabad. I am pursuing my MPhil in Law and Economics. So I would say that the session was extremely interactive and lively. It was wonderful to be a part of this course, and so there's a difference between reading up examples and getting to hear them from someone's personal experiences, which I guess was the best part of this course. And I think I'm blessed to be a student of Professor Schaefer, who has such great command over the subject. And I mean, though I was already pursuing this course, but I am a student of MPhil because I wasn't much motivated for PhD. But I guess this course has given me sufficient motivation to now pursue PhD in Law and Economics. Besides that, it was great to be a part of such a heterogeneous group where I got to make friends with lawyers, with engineers and economists, of course. And apart from that, IIT Kanpur campus is wonderful. I saw almost all the things, including the airstrip and everything. So it was really nice. And I would like to thank everyone, all the organizers, IIT Kanpur, Prasad sir, and special thanks to Sunny for taking care of us from day 1 to day 15. He has been there every day, every time, whenever we need him for all the things. So yeah, thanks a lot, and thank you sir for opening up so much, so many ideas and giving a very useful insight on the course. Thanks sir.
Morning. I'm Bhushan Jatania. I practice corporate law in Bangalore, and this course has been really wonderful for me. A lot of words that I was planning to use have actually been used by other people, like eye-opener and wonderful, and it's an honor. So I will not use them, but it's wonderful that I've studied law for 5 years and I've practiced it for 4 years, but nowhere in this really long space of time have we really lawyers thought about law and economics in the way that I've seen here. and I think it's a rather sorry state of affairs right now for the profession, because we are so disconnected from the implication of what we suggest and advise and recommend to our clients so wholeheartedly without really understanding the implications. I think that should change really. And but this course has exceeded my expectations on all counts, on all sorts of parameters in terms of just the discourse that went on and the material that was given to us in terms of how things were presented to us, who I was sitting with in class, and on every count it's been just a really wonderful experience. And for someone like us to learn from Professor Schaefer, because he's not from he teaches in Germany, and therefore for us to be in India and still get the opportunity to be in the same classroom as you, it's very rare. So this initiative is really wonderful in that way. Ordinarily we would have to go abroad for a master's to get this, and we don't have to.
Good morning everyone. I am Major M.K. Malakar. I am doing my M.Tech in Environmental Engineering and Management in IIT Kanpur. I also do not have any background of law and economics, but after going to this course, when Professor Prasad initially told me to see in case I am interested to do this course, that time I studied about you, sir, going on the internet, how the faculty is. Then when I knew Professor Schaefer will be coming to teach us and knowing about your credentials, sir, it was inspiring for me to go for this course, because I thought I'll get an exposure to a whole lot of things in a very short time. And definitely, sir, within this short period of time, it had given a good insight about a lot of things about law and economics, not only worldwide, and how it can be applied, and more so probably the contract parts, which is applicable to common man also. So definitely it has helped a lot to understand the intricacies of law and economics in our day-to-day life and how it can be used. Thank you so much.
Good morning, sir. 15 years, me being an assistant professor at STEP HPTI, sitting on the other side of the class was a new experience. Though my perception for joining this course was different, in a simple and a single line, what I can say is I am taking bundle of examples which I'm going to use in my class, whether it's a class of law or it is a class of economics, and I'll be suggesting Director Sir to have a short-term course on IPR. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is nice to listen from you, and so you have spoken from your heart and mind, and we take retrospect, and if there are some gaps, we want to give it the best, but due to several constraints, if we are not reaching that goal, then we will try to improve ourselves to be in that position. And when I would like to say a few things about Professor Uday Raj. What I know a little about him. He has a PhD in chemical engineering from US under Nobel laureate. Then after he worked 35 years in industry and had several patents, and he has only one goal, to come back to India and then disseminate the knowledge to the youngsters like you and motivate you to really to get into it. He really come back to IIT Kanpur, and then he introduced intellectual property rights. And I can say that first time, whatever intellectual property rights, academic activities in both teaching and research happen, I think he is a kind of, like Professor Schaefer, the land economics, whatever happening, it is because of him. Okay, in the similar sense, whatever intellectual property rights, academic, both teaching and research happening, it is Professor Uday Raj. So, and this really gave, like Mrs. Smita, being as an engineer and comes and then motivates the she would like to carry on intellectual programs. So this is how the things really happens, and we are all glad that some of you really having a kind of agenda already, and we wish you good luck for that. So with this, we request Mr. Schaefer to distribute the certificates to participants. And before that, we forgot in the beginning to hand over this material to Professor Schaefer.
Oh.
So, so this one is also to Professor Uday.
We both will share.
Yes.
This is
Good. That I was looking for a piece of paper. Yeah, really,
And I
because I
hope-
forgot to take it.
I hope pen is also there. Yeah, so we will call one by one. There is no order in it, no alphabetical or nothing. Just whatever the certificates lies, we will call first come first. Raj, Vishu Raj. And then Miss Kanika Goyal. And Mr. Manoj Kumar Malaka. Mr. Piyush Varsapani. And Mrs. Smita Krishna. So Mr. Vivek Ranjan Pandey. Mr. Sunny Bhushan. So Mr. Nischint Gupta. You can turn that side. It's weird. I think maybe the participants go that side, then it is good. Rather than coming in the middle. Every time he has to display.
Just want to make sure that you get that exclusive shot.
And then Mr. Santanu Brad Chaube. Miss Neha Jaiswal.
Thank you, sir.
And Mrs. Priyanka Gupta. And Mr. Bhushan Tatania. Miss Anushka Mitta. She's not. And Mr. Anshul Goyal. And Miss Jasmine Kaur. Yes, that's right. I think, yeah, it is again. Oh, we could have done it prior. Okay, fine.